Hey guys, the Common Man here. So today I figured it's time to go ahead and do an updated collection video. The last time I did it was about halfway through last year. So it is now 2024, January 2024. So new year, new knives. I've got a lot of new stuff. So I say, grab a cup of coffee. I've got mine, and sit back and just enjoy while I go through most of the knives in my collection. It's not very often that I have all of them in pretty much the same location, so I figured today is a great day to do it. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started with some of my budget knives. We'll start with budget knives, hard use knives, and then work my way up to some of my nicer knives. And I did just get done filming a video on the Goat multi-tool, and it bit me. Hobby blade got me right in the finger. Not too bad, but yeah, that thing is love-hate relationship with that tool, and we'll talk about that as we get moving. So first off, you can see my setup is nothing special. I made this wooden box with my dad years ago, and it's kind of out of screen, and the reason is because it's a total mess all around my little video station here, which is just a little corner of my desk. But everything's a mess over here. But this box is just something special to me. I'm going to keep my knives in it because it's something, like I said, I made it with my dad, and it's just got a special place in my heart. So this is where I keep most of my knives. But like I said, we'll go ahead and start with some of my budget knives, and we'll be opening and closing this. So just as we go, we'll be grabbing new stuff. So let's go ahead and start off with this. This is my Civivi Elementum. This is my first Civivi knife I've owned, and I'm telling you, this thing is awesome. I actually bought this as a groomsman gift for all of my groomsmen in my wedding, and all of them still carry it. They absolutely love it, and it was just the best bang for the buck, and just kind of the nicest knife that I could find for some of the most important guys in my life. And yeah, they're all super happy with it. It's got that beautiful wood handle, black finish on the blade there. This is, I believe, oh boy, what is it, 14C? No, this is the D2. This is the D2 version. This is one of the earlier Elementums. And just, simple liner lock, very nice knife, incredible edge, came razor sharp out of the box. And I love that blade finish. Look at that kind of tumbled, stone washed. This thing just looks so good. Still an awesome option if you're looking for a budget knife. I love these original Elementums. Next in line, we've got something very similar. This is actually the button lock Elementum. I got this as I believe it was a Valentine's Day gift for my wife, and similar to the Elementum, it's just a little bit thicker, just a hair thicker to accommodate that button lock, and the button lock is awesome. Only issue is it does have that button lock, that kind of issue where if you press the button lock too tight, it does interact with the blade, so you got to press it just right for it to close, but it does close very well once you do. No blade play. The flipping action is awesome on this thing, and yeah, another very recommendable knife. I would definitely recommend picking one up. They're a good affordable option, and this is in the I'm almost positive this is Nitro V. Let me pull it off camera and see if I can find. But yeah, I'm almost positive that is Nitro V, which is an awesome steel, better than D2 in my opinion, and pretty similar price range. So definitely check this one out. Civivi Elementum 2 button lock flipper. And then another budget option, guys. I think this is still my favorite budget knife you can pick up today. This is the CJRB Pyrite. This thing feels at least twice as expensive as it is. This thing I picked up for like 42 bucks. It might have been a holiday sale, but they're usually right around that $40 to $50 mark, and probably about $50. And this one is just a simple version with the G10, the gray G10, metal liners, button lock. It has, I believe it's 14C28N on that blade. Let's take a look if it says ARRPM 9, which is a great steel, really good budget steel, especially for 42 bucks that I picked this thing up at. That's just awesome. And this thing feels so premium. It just feels incredible. It melts into the hand. It's a little bit on the smaller side, definitely on kind of the slimmer side, but it feels so good. This is one of those few button lock knives, or button lock. This is one of the few, actually, yeah, button lock budget knives that finds its way into my pocket. I don't generally carry a whole lot of budget knives because I'm a knife snob at this point and I like my nice knives. But this thing, I'm telling you, just look at the way that it's just so natural to deploy, to disengage that lock with the button lock. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to fidget with. This thing is so cool. Like I said, I do still carry this thing. And for a budget knife to find its way into my pocket regularly is a big deal. Definitely check out the CJRB Pyrite. Lots of versions. They've got an XL version, and you just can't beat it. They've also got some premium versions as well, as titanium handles, different handle materials. Yeah, really, really cool. Cannot recommend this enough. And also check out the CJRB Echo, which I've had. I've since gotten rid of it. Very similar knife. It's available in a liner lock as well as a button lock, and either version I think is going to be great. Just a little bit different, but very similar in certainly in its feeling of quality, materials, things like that. Similar knife, just a little bit different design, different feel on that one. So CJRB Pyrite. We'll go into some of my hard use knives. This is one of my earliest knives in my collection when I really got into picking up some nicer knives. This is the Benchmade Griptilian, and it is an absolute beater. You've seen this on my last collection video. This has not gone anywhere. It is still in my collection, and it will remain in my collection because I will beat the snot out of this knife until it just completely comes apart, which I probably, I doubt it ever will. It just, honestly, it just keeps taking a beating and just keeps on going. It is S30V, a little bit of blade play in there. This one I don't worry too much. I just clean it up every now and then to make sure it's nice and sharp, which you can see that edge. I really don't care about this knife. As long as it's sharp, I'm happy. I don't care what the edge looks like. I don't care what the blade looks like. This honestly is probably going to be my new truck knife. I think I'm going to throw it in my truck and just have it as a heavy abuser, you know. Just an overall great knife. I don't think you might be able to pick up this just standard, what do they call it, Grivery or whatever, just the plastic scales. I think you can still get a hold of these. They're usually pretty cheap. When I bought it, it was like 130 bucks, which is pretty good for a Benchmade. And yeah, S30V. I love this blade shape. This is definitely my favorite blade shape in the Griptilian line. And I think it's called a modified sheep's foot. It's got like the spidey hole, and that's great for the reverse flick, good for the thumb flick. You can walk it open. That's totally useful. Very nice. The axis lock works great. I've never had an issue with the Omega springs breaking in a Benchmade. A lot of people are concerned about that, but like I said, I put this thing through a major beating in its life, and I just haven't had any issues with it. I have had to tweak the pivot a couple of times. I've had to clean it out several times, but it just keeps coming back swinging, and I'm very happy with this knife. Definitely not going anywhere. That is the Benchmade Griptilian. All right, next up, let's go ahead and take a look at my Spyderco Manix. This is the Manix 2, particularly the G10. It's got the black metal liners. This is the all blacked out version. Kind of expensive now. I think these things are right around the $180, $190 mark, something like that. And this was a splurge at the time. I had the Manix 2 lightweight, and I absolutely fell in love with that knife. And I really wanted a robust version of it and a little bit better blade steel, a little bit stronger handle material. So I went for this one, and I am very happy I did. This is definitely a beater. You can see that I do abuse this blade. Well, this is one of those knives that it's so comfortable in the hand. It feels familiar. When you get it in the hand, it's almost like when you think, where has this knife been? Like, I feel like this is what my hand, you know, this is what needs to be in my hand when I'm using a knife, because this thing is so comfortable. This is kind of, in my opinion, like the benchmark for ergonomics as far as pocket knives go. And then this has their I think it's their ball bearing lock, which works fantastic. These are just plastic. I'd love to get an upgraded material for that ball bearing cage, but it works great. Very similar to like an axis lock, where you just kind of pinch and pull back, and it is very robust, and it does have a coil spring in there instead of the Omega spring. So yeah, this guy is this is awesome. This is a very good heavy user, and a little bit high profile, kind of big in the pocket, so not the best for me for EDC. That's why this kind of just this goes in my pocket when I'm out working in the yard or something like that. So that is the Spyderco Manix 2. Next up is a little bit more of a recent acquisition. This is the Hogue Deca. I guess I've had this for several months now, but a little bit newer compared to some of my knives. This is the Hogue Deca with the Magna Cut. It originally came with the plastic scales. It had like an OD green plastic scale, and so I went with this version because I had plans on upgrading the blade or the handle material anyway. I wanted to get either titanium or aluminum, so I just went with the cheaper version. I really wanted the Magna Cut steel. I like Magna Cut for its corrosion resistance, great edge retention, you know, good toughness, and it was cheaper. Getting the Magna Cut and plastic handle version, you were talking $20 to $30 cheaper than the G10 version that came with 20 CV, I think. So that was kind of a no-brainer for me if I knew I was going to be swapping the scales out. And I did. I went with these original GOAT aluminum scales. They are actually milled out. They're quite lightweight. They didn't add a ton of weight to this knife. And yeah, they just look incredible. They feel incredible. Only issue, I had some fitment problems. It was very hard to eliminate blade play and have a nice free action. So you can see it still has quite a stiff action. You can swing it closed and you can still flick it open without much of an issue. And that really just to say, you know, for the ergonomics of this knife, it's tuned so perfectly, and the thumb stud is in just the right position where it just rockets out, even with a little bit of stiffness in that pivot. But anyway, the scales, that was really my only issue with them. They just didn't seem to fit perfectly. But you know, right now I'm happy to say no blade play, and it is pivots free enough, and it's very smooth. So yeah, great knife. This is the Hogue Deca, again in Magna Cut with the original GOAT. These are Cerakoted aluminum scales, so very, very nice knife. Next up, the big boy. This thing took me a long time to warm up to this knife, to even consider purchasing one, because for a long time I thought this thing was just ugly. I thought this thing was so ugly and so dumb and so oversized and overbuilt and overdesigned. And then eventually I decided, you know what, I think I might need to take a look at it, because everyone was just raving about it. And I'm glad I did pick one up. This is the Microtech MSI. This is the polymer handled version. They make a G10 version, which is up right around $250, something like that. This thing was like right around $200. I bought this actually secondhand, so I got a pretty good deal on it. But just an awesome knife. And I actually found out this backspacer is titanium. I found that out from a viewer, left a comment. So thank you for letting me know about that. Yeah, so anyway, just if you're looking at my review, I got that wrong. That is titanium. Yeah, just an awesome knife. This thing is huge. It's a big bruiser. It's a heavy, you know, hard use knife that's just going to take a beating. It is the M390 MK. I guess that's Microtech's kind of specialized version of M390. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think it has much of an advantage over just regular M390, but yeah, you know, good blade material. The polymer actually feels just fine. It feels a lot more robust than what you would expect from a polymer handle. It still has that plasticky feel, but it has almost no flex, which is incredible. And it just doesn't have that light, cheap feeling of most polymer or plastic handles. And let's talk about that lock. That thing is insane. That is the most robust lock I've ever used on any knife. You can see that massive coil spring down in there. The lockout is it just locks out with authority. And with such a heavy blade, I mean, it really feels like it's putting in work when you lock that thing out. And same thing when you close it. I mean, listen to this. I mean, it's like a guillotine. And again, that's attributed to the weight of the blade for sure, which is a little bulky in my opinion, maybe more than it needs to be, but also the freeness in that pivot, just how smooth and free that pivot is with absolute 100% solid lockup. I mean, there's no wiggle, there's no feeling of cheapness or fragility in this knife. This thing is a beast. I absolutely love it. I haven't given it enough pocket time, but I certainly plan to very soon. And I think I still need to upload a full review on this knife. But anyway, Microtech MSI. Very cool knife. Well, since we're sticking around with kind of my hard use knives slash tools. This is my Leatherman Wave. I picked this up not too long ago. I'm kind of starting to lean towards when I'm doing work on my cars or any of my vehicles. I kind of want to stick with carrying a multi-tool because I like the idea of having the pliers, the cutting heads, all of the different tools that come with it. You can see, you know, you've got a file, you've got the knife, you've got a saw, and actually a serrated blade, which would come in handy for sure, and a couple of internal tools like screwdriver and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is something that I've really kind of started carrying when I'm working outside in the garage. And yeah, it's been great. This is an awesome tool. The only complaint I have with this tool, because I am a knife guy, and that's a lot of blade play. Unfortunately, it's side-to-side play, it's up and down play, and the 420HC doesn't bother me too much because it's going to be super easy to resharpen. And honestly, when I'm out working on my cars, I use the knife blade for things I shouldn't, so I think I'd rather destroy 420HC in certain situations than like a high, I guess a more expensive blade steel. But yeah, that being said, my Leatherman Wave, this thing is an absolute beater. I love it, and it's certainly going to stick around in my collection, and it's definitely going to be put to work. And yeah, I would recommend it for the price. These things are really great, and I'm looking at new multi-tools and stuff, so we'll do some comparisons coming up here. But anyway, I think that's it for that drawer. Let's go ahead, and I don't want to get into my kind of regular, more premium stuff just yet, and I don't have super knife stuff, but we'll kind of work our way through these lower end knives before we get there. So next up is going to be my Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight, and it is a mess. This is a regular user. I actually carry this in my pocket all the time. At work, this stays with me, always in my pocket. If I'm using any knife for like utility cuts or EDC tasks at work, this is going to be the one. Just very similar along the lines of the regular Manix 2, the G10 version. The ergonomics are insane, just out of this world. I almost feel like they're better on the on this polymer version. It's so lightweight. I honestly cannot get over how much knife you get, how much utility you get out of such a lightweight package, and it's big. This is not a small knife. I mean, I do want to do a size comparison real quick. The Spyderco Delica, look at the difference in size there. The Manix 2 lightweight, and I'm not kidding, guys. The weight, they feel virtually the same. I don't even think I can tell a difference in weight. This one almost feels lighter, and this has full metal liners, so, you know, take that into consideration. But the fact that you get this much knife for like the exact same weight is just out of this world. And then the ergonomics are just insane. This thing is just a beast. I love this knife. Only downside is the size when in the pocket. It does carry quite large in the pocket. It's got a very big profile, but again, you get so much knife for that weight. It's really hard to beat this thing. I absolutely love it. I would highly recommend it. Definitely pick one of these things up. This is the Kaiser Brat. I haven't uploaded a video of this yet. There is definitely going to be a video coming soon. I got this on trade. I traded a couple of knives for this and another one that you're going to see in just a minute. But this thing is very cool. I'm really impressed. What really kind of piqued my interest on this one is that G10, that integral G10 handle, which is just very different. It's not something I've ever seen before. I don't think it's anything that's been done before with the G10 that I know of. And yeah, I mean, it's just an awesome concept. You can see it's just got little like cartridge liners there to accommodate the button lock, and overall incredible action. Very good ergonomics. I love the flipping action. It works great. And the blade shape is not my favorite, but anyway, I don't want to get too in depth here because I do have a video coming soon which will get relatively in depth. But very cool knife, right around the $80 or $90 mark. But yeah, like I said, I got this on trade, so I did not have to pay that price. And yeah, I think it's worth it though. It's a great knife. Yeah, this one's probably, I'm going to go ahead and probably put some use, maybe carry it a little bit, definitely do a video on it, and then most likely it's probably going to move along pretty soon. Next up, I got this one also in a trade in the same deal. This is going to be the Vosteed Raccoon. This is a very cool knife. It's not anything too different from what we've seen from a lot of other manufacturers and knives, but it's done incredibly well. It's got, I think it was, 14C28N. And by the way, this was 154 cm on the Kaiser Brat, but 14C28N on the Vosteed Raccoon. This guy, I know that they had an original button lock version which had some issues. It was having basically lock failure with the button mechanism, but this with that I guess crossbar lock, it's a very solid lockout, very reliable lock, and you know, no blade play, nice blade shape. It's got this great EDC blade shape with that nice continuous sweep on that edge. Good, you know, kind of robust blade up at the spine, but a very, you know, pretty thin slicing edge. This is a great knife, and I don't know necessarily if I'm going to carry it much, but I really wanted to take a look at it because I know that these raccoons were very well accepted by the knife community, and a lot of people really like them. I think it looks good. I'll definitely upload a review on it soon and maybe carry it a little bit, but it probably isn't going to stick around in my collection for very long either. Moving along, let's go ahead and get to this guy. So you guys know I've really been getting into some traditional knives lately, and I decided you can't take a look at traditional knives and give it a really good chance without looking at one of the kind of originals, and that is a case knife. So I had to pick up a case knife, and I knew that you're kind of rolling the dice with these things. I'll go ahead and the other end, as far as quality and quality control and stuff. So yeah, you know, unfortunately, I think I kind of drew the short stick with this one because it wasn't great. It's a very cool knife. This particular knife is the Mini Trapper, and it was in a handle design that I liked. I like this kind of, I don't remember, it's like a jig to bone basically, but it was one of the cheaper options I found, and one of my favorite designs in some of their cheaper versions. So I didn't pay very much for this knife at all. I got a great price for it. I think I got a holiday sale for it. And anyway, it came with a fair amount of blade play. I'm not sure what's going on with the angle of that blade. That doesn't look right to me. Maybe it is right, but that just kind of looks goofy the way it's got that crazy downward angle to it. The main blade had a lot of blade play to it. I definitely voided the warranty because I pinched these bolsters together a little bit, or kind of tapped them together to try to eliminate some of that blade play. It's kind of a proof of concept kind of thing, trying to see if I could get it to tighten up at all. And like I said, I'm sure I voided the warranty doing that, but this isn't really a knife I was gonna return if I didn't get the one that I really wanted. It wasn't very expensive. But yeah, you know, you get a couple of blade options there, very, you know, kind of different, unique, but there's a lot of things I didn't care for with this knife, and some things that I really thought they did well. But anyway, this is one that I definitely am going to hang on to. I could see this being a knife that maybe I pass on to my boys at some point. It is kind of that classic, like, you know, your childhood knife. So this one is probably going to stick around, and I'll probably get a similar one for my other boy. I got twin boys, and at some point they got to have a pocket knife, right? So yeah, we'll keep this one for now, and most likely it's going to go on to one of my little ones. Put that away. Next up, yeah, this video is probably going to be pretty long, guys, but right now I do have a fair amount of knives. Next up, we've got the Civivi Baby Banter. I really enjoyed the Banter series. I owned, I think, all of them, actually, and I've gotten rid of the other ones. I had the Big Banter, I had the regular Banter, and the Baby Banter here. This one I have kept because this is a... Oops, there we go. It's this is my gym bag knife. I keep this in I keep a little drawstring gym bag that I take to the gym. I take it to work with me just to carry my kind of miscellaneous stuff. And this always stays in my gym bag pocket. And it's a good utility knife. You know, it works for just little EDC tasks you might need. You know, if I don't have a knife on me, if I'm wearing gym shorts or something like that, and I'm wherever I am with my gym bag, I always know that I've got this thing accessible and ready to go, and it gets the job done. It's just enough blade length for what you need to do little cuts and things, and It's a really nice knife. Honestly, I've never felt a knife this small with this good of ergonomics. It fits the hand incredibly well. It just feels good. It's honestly, it feels more premium than it has any right to. It feels really good, and the price on these is pretty awesome as well. So I would recommend one of these if you're looking for like a fifth pocket knife, a purse knife, just like a gym bag knife, something like that. These things are really cool, and now they come in the Wharncliffe, which I'm really attracted to. I've been very tempted to pull the trigger on a Wharncliffe version, but yeah, this thing is super sweet. Really like it. That is the Civivi Baby Banter. Next up, I did pull this off just a second ago, so you saw it. This is the Spyderco Deca. This is actually when I really decided I wanted to pick up a nice knife, or a little bit nicer knife than what I was carrying, because I was used to carrying like Walmart knives. This is the first knife that I picked up and spent any considerable amount of money on. I spent like $90 on this thing at the time, and this really sparked my, I guess, knife collecting hobby. I mean, this really got me started, because it was like, oh yeah, I got a Spyderco. I've got a real knife now, and I loved this thing. It's got the VG10 steel. It held an edge a lot better than anything I was ever, I was used to. And ergonomics were nice. It fit in the pocket nice. It was relatively lightweight. It does have a very robust feel to it. These Delicas, they honestly have a very tough feel to them, because they have the full metal liner, and they have this great grip texture. I really enjoy that. Even though it's this plasticky FRN material, it just feels good. This is a serious knife, honestly, and it's very small. It's it's light, or small, I guess. It's relatively compact. It's slim, low profile, fits in the pocket beautifully, and it's got that very robust back lock. And this one, you can see, has been broken in very nicely. It closes and opens one-handed, no problem. This is another knife that I had this up for sale for a short period there, and then I realized, who wants an old used Delica, and why would I ever get rid of this? Because this is just a great knife to keep around. My wife uses this all the time, because I usually have it sitting on top of my knife box here, and it's just a good knife. Definitely recommend these knives, although at this point it's kind of hard to choke down the price that you have to pay for them with all the other options that we have now. But yeah, very good knife. So let's see. Yeah, this knife, or this video is getting pretty long, guys. I might try to speed it up a little bit here, but now we are getting into my regular carry kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and start with my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This is the crew wear version. Like I said, I wanted to get my Manix 2 in a crew wear version. It's basically, I'd like to get that in this version. It's got the purple G10 handles. It's got the crew wear blade, the black finish, all black hardware. This thing is a workhorse. I've used this for some heavy, hard use stuff. I've used this for just regular EDC tasks. It fits in the pocket so well. For such a large knife, this thing really does fit in the pocket well. It's very comfortable, very ergonomic, and I just love that compression lock. I think the Paramilitary 2 is still one of the best pocket knives ever made, hands down. It's definitely up there in the first, couple of the very best pocket knives ever created. And yeah, I think this thing, I can't see this ever going anywhere. This is one of my favorites. Next up, what I would consider to be probably the best pocket knife ever made, the best EDC knife ever made, and that is the Spyderco Para 3. I really do still feel like this is as good as it gets for EDC knives. This is one of the original S30V versions, just with the satin hardware. I put a, what is this? Oh man, it's a micarta scales, but I'm trying to think of who makes them. Not MXG. RGT micarta scales. This is their brown canvas micarta, and they are great. They went on easy, not difficult to tune. In fact, when I put them on, it actually fixed my blade play issue. It was drop shutty. It had zero blade play, and I think it's because it allows for a little bit of compression on those screws to squeeze those pivots together without providing too much force on the pivot. Anyway. Very nice. I love this setup. I put a lanyard on it. We're going to see how that goes. It might drive me crazy, but I wanted to give a lanyard a shot. But this is a very, very cool knife. Another knife very similar is going to be my Para 3. This is my Star Wars knife. This I got these scales, titanium scales from Met & Boss. They were kind of a custom order. He'll make those. You just have to kind of send him an email and ask him for them specifically. But these are titanium Star Wars anodized scales, and they fit perfect. I also have an MXG deep carry pocket clip. This is the 20 CV DLT Tan G10 exclusive that I put these scales on. So that's what this knife was born as. And just a super, super cool knife. This is kind of, I don't really pull this out too often because, man, I really don't want to mess up these scales. This is kind of like a showpiece for me. And honestly, the whole setup wasn't too cheap. I'll go ahead and put that back. Next up is going to be my Leatherman Arc. I love this thing. I carry this now as an EDC tool, which I never thought I would carry a multi-tool as an EDC tool, but this thing is just incredible. It's got the MagnaCut blade. It's got the free platform with the magnetic, kind of that, magnetic architecture. It's got all the tools you need. Got those great, those great cutters on there. It's got a good, perfect deep carry pocket clip. It's got their two-dimensional or 2.5-dimensional bit set. Great saw. You got a file. Pretty much everything you need for EDC tasks. And you could certainly use this in the garage or working out in the yard as well. It's got everything, pretty much everything you need for convenience and as far as tools are concerned. This is my Tactile Knives Rockwall. This is also like a lightweight pants or kind of cargo shorts carry knife. It's very, very slim, very slender, very lightweight. This is in MagnaCut. It's got this orange Cerakoted titanium scales. And this is, I think, what do they call this? The Safety First edition. It's got that cool little caution sign on there. This is an awesome knife. It was fairly gritty when I got this thing, and I did actually buy this secondhand. I think they might have put aftermarket bearings in this thing, but honestly, the grittiness was coming from the detent ball riding across the blade, and it has smoothed out a little bit, but man, it took a long time for that grittiness to go away. But it is very drop sheddy. It's very, very snappy on the opening. It's just got a great action, zero blade play. Overall, just a really awesome, slim, low profile, premium carry knife. Very expensive though. Like I said, I bought this secondhand. I didn't pay full price for it, but if you're looking for these brand new, the price, it ain't cheap, in my opinion, for what you get. Next, we have the Rick Hinderer XM18. This is a DLT exclusive no choil slicer. This is on their tri-way pivot system. This is in the Battle Bronze and the Coyote Green G10, something like that. But yeah, this is a sweet knife. I carry this a lot. This is definitely a user. This is one of my probably forever knives. This was kind of a Grail knife for a long time. When I finally found it, I fell in love and I had to have it. I had a couple of Hinderers before this, but this is the one that stuck around because this is the version that I really love. The ergonomics are incredible. The build quality is fantastic. S45 VN steel on the blade with that beautiful, beautiful working finish. I have not had any issues with corrosion on this one, I'm happy to say, and I just love the look of that Battle Bronze on the titanium. So very, very sweet knife. These are becoming more available. This particular version it's going to be hard to find, but the Hinderers are becoming more and more available. You just got to kind of stand by and wait for those drops to come out. Next up, one of my favorite knives, easily one of my favorite knives in my collection. This is the Chris Reeve Umnumzon, and this is the Tanto version. I was not looking for the Tanto version. I actually wasn't even really looking for an Umnumzon, but this one popped up, and I've had this for maybe a year now, maybe not quite a year, 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. And this thing gets a ton of pocket time, almost as much as my Para 3, honestly. This thing is I just carry this all the time. I think it's one of the most beautiful knife designs out there. It ages so beautifully. It gets little snail trails and just adds some of that almost like a stonewash kind of finish. And man, it just looks so good. That hollow grind, that beautiful tanto grind, it works great. Not the sliciest thing in the world, but it certainly gets the job done. Ergonomics are incredible, and it's got that hydraulic action, which is, it's not snappy, it's not free, it's not like falsetty, but it's hydraulic, like you hear about those Chris Reeve knives. This thing is just buttery smooth, and it just gives you the warm and fuzzies every time you have it in your hand or in your pocket. And I did put an aftermarket, I think this is a Lynch deep carry clip, just kind of a folded titanium clip, but it works great. I like this a lot better than the original clip. The original clips on the Chris Reeves I just don't really care for much. But anyway, that is the Chris Reeve Umnumzahn. Very, very nice. This next one, this is a Spartan Harsey. This is their full-size Harsey. This one I'm probably going to be moving along here pretty soon. This is a DLT Warthog exclusive. This is my first Grail premium knife. This is the most I paid for a knife. This is the first knife that I paid, several $100s for. It was a splurge. I think I was tipping a few back when I bought it. And, once I did, I was very happy. I was very, very happy with it. I love the blade finish. It's got that beautiful kind of polished, kind of stone wash finish that just looks incredible. The anodizing on this thing, the engraving, the machining is so good. It is so smooth. It's not drop sheddy, much like the Umnumzahn, but it is just crazy smooth. And I will say, if you buy one of these things, it's going to come so stiff out of the box that it will destroy your thumb while you're opening it. But just give it some time, let it work in. It will work in just to perfection. I really do love this knife, but I don't carry it. It's big, it's a little flashy. I'd love to keep it in my collection, but it's too much money that I could free up to get a few more things, even just for reviews. So this one is probably going to be making an exit pretty soon here. All right, guys, just a few more. Hang in there. We're almost done. This is another knife that I think is going to be on its way out. This is the Wee Cherith. This is their flame anodized or tiger anodized, something like that, flame titanium. I love the frag pattern on this, very slim, 20 CV. It's got this beautiful like copper or bronze hardware. It just looks so good. I saw this thing at my local knife shop, and I didn't buy it right away, but I knew I'm going to have that knife because I want it bad. And I did eventually buy it, and I'm very happy. I was very happy with it. I carried it a lot, kind of a gentleman's folder, but at this point, I just don't carry it as much as I used to. But I definitely recommend this knife. No blade play, very solid lockup. It just looks so good. It carries so slim, you forget it's in your pocket, and just an overall really, really good-looking knife. That's the Wee Cherith. Just look at that. Look at the anodizing. And the frag, it's just done so beautifully. Wee does an incredible job with their knives. All right, next up, we've got the Pena. This is the Lanny's clip. I bought this secondhand. I'm very happy with it. It's nice. It's a little bit thicker than I would like. I wish it was just a little thinner, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I'm going to hang on to this for much longer. This has got that beautiful carbon fiber, that kind of layered shred carbon fiber, titanium pocket clip, bolster lock, front flipper. I'm not a massive front flipper fan. I'm really finding that I like it even less than I thought. The front flippers, that is. But man, this is the one front flipper that I would certainly put in my pocket. And it's just done so well. It's so premium feeling. It is their X series, so it's not one of their customs by Pena, but it's done very well. That very nice hollow grind, beautiful tip, awesome edge grind, and this is in S90V, I think, M390. But yeah, that's a very nice knife. Pena X series Lanny's clip. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and end it with 3 slip joints. And just for the sake of time, I think we'll go ahead and pull these 2 out. So these are both by Great Eastern Cutlery. Great Eastern Cutlery is actually based very close to where I grew up. And they're in the Allegheny Mountains, which is where I spent some of my favorite time of my childhood, up in the Allegheny Mountains. So it was really cool picking up knives by a company that is based in that area. This is the, let's see, Sudbuster, kind of a play on the Sodbuster, but you can see it's just got that beautiful drop point blade on there. It's got bottle opener as well, so this is a two-bladed kind of trapper style. I guess no, I don't think you can call it a trapper. Maybe, because I mean it's the same, you know, pivot point for two blades, I guess. But really, really nice. These knives are just so well done. They don't come particularly sharp. I did end up having to resharpen it, but it's just so beautiful. I mean, look at that micarta. I was afraid that it had that, you know, that high gloss, but I wish really the camera doesn't even capture it the way that micarta, the layers show through. This is a beautiful knife, and honestly, if you can find them brand new, which good luck, the prices are actually very reasonable. Unfortunately, for most people, you'll only ever get a hold of them on the secondary market, where the prices are jacked up pretty high. And you can see I put a lanyard on this one as well. And then we have the GEC Pony Jack. This is my gentleman's carry knife, or one of them, and you can see this is a two-bladed knife. It's got that very nice clip point, kind of cool logo on the blade there. But yeah, it's got that clip point, and then it's got this small pen knife, double bolster. It's got the wood covers, all pinned construction for this as well as this one. And yeah, just a very cool premium feeling traditional knife. No half stop on this one, but it just, man, it just functions beautifully. It looks good. I'm really falling in love with these GEC knives, and I'm excited to pick some more up in the future. And then last but not least, we'll end it with my Jack Wolf knives. This is my suit carry knife. If I'm wearing a suit, this is probably what's going to be in my pocket in a slip. And this thing is incredible. This is their Big Bro Jack, and yeah, this is an impressive knife. S90V, I believe, on that blade. Titanium with these layered carbon fiber covers or scales, and it's fully screwed construction, so it's taking some of those traditional knife characteristics but bringing it into like a modern design. So this is definitely a modern traditional folder, but super impressive on that guy. Anyway, guys, I don't know, what was that, an hour maybe long? That was a long video. I'm sorry. Thanks for hanging in there. I don't care if you skipped ahead to whatever knives you're more interested in. I just appreciate you watching. So anyway, lots more to come in the future, guys. My knife collection is changing all the time. I'll probably upload a mid-year collection because things just keep on rotating. But anyway, I really appreciate the support. 1,000 subscribers, guys. We hit 1,000 subscribers. That's incredible. I cannot believe that happened. It's super exciting, and I thank you so much for the support, for all the comments, all the likes, everything that you guys do, and it really gives me motivation to keep uploading these videos and keep collecting these knives to share with you guys. It's really a lot of fun for me, and it's a real break from kind of the daily grind. So I just can't thank you enough. But anyway, if you want to see more of my videos, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. And take care. Hope you enjoyed.